Here we are, 3 years later.
We
ups and
reunited.
downs. It reminds me of my favorite Tolkien quote. Evil cannot create anything new. Feels like we did something exciting, something good.
Gilgadaddy there, strangely referencing what happened to the first trailer for Rings of Power, and all the comments criticising it. Season 2 really did go full circle, like a ring. I can only assume he's referencing the drama, where the trailer got roasted by a quote attributed to Tolkien. Evil cannot create anything new, it can only distort and destroy what was invented or created by the forces of good.
Evil cannot create anything new.
Which was a paraphrase of the shadow that bred them can only mock, it cannot make, not real new things of its own. This then had a load of people with 85 IQ going, well, it's not even correct, because they didn't know what a paraphrase was, and was the generic defense of what was a big drama at the time. Strange how they snuck that in there then at the end of the after show of the season 2 finale. A specific paraphrase that was used against them, only to end it with,
Feels like we did something exciting, something good.
I guess it hit a nerve with someone. Maybe it's better than having one of your cast members, though, shipping random people from the cast. Or looking at your viewing figures, which were 55 million after a month. Only 15 million higher than your last number that you said after 11 days, rather than 34. Retention on this show, not its strong point.
Feels like we did something exciting, something good.
We start with the dwarves, where Joran's found Elrond cheating on him with the king.
Ring! It has him! Mind and soul!
I bet it did. Jorin understands what it's like to be under the power of Elrond's ring. So Jorin marches off to stop Jorin, so Jorin can't wake up something worse than Jorin.
No matter what you hear, do not follow me down that mine.
It's not the first time Jesus has been told that when Elrond's come to visit. It's like, oh no, I know what's going on here. Deezer has no idea. Now, oddly, as he walks down the tunnel, he finds the king mining with a battering ram. Look, I know that's stupid. You know that's stupid. For some reason, the dwarves had a mining battering ram. I don't know. Wouldn't a pickaxe be? No. Battering ram.
There's no such thing really as canon in Tolkien.
The issue is the banging. It's disturbing the Balrog that seems to be just a few meters beneath you.
Take off the ring!
Stop pounding his ring! Never!
Take it off! I'll take off the whole hand!
Yes, Jorin talks a big game, and I'm like, why are you warning him? Just walk up to him and cut his hand off. As far as Jorin is aware, if he keeps mining, he's going to wake up something evil beneath that will kill everybody. And he's correct. So everything about this should just say, attack him. The king says so. You're strong enough to wield an axe, but can you use it against me?
No, father. I'm not.
What's the point of this scene then? You're a weak, pathetic little man that's going to get his entire people killed because you're too scared to do anything. What a put that makes the rest of this scene redundant. Instead, he starts crying, I was a child once, and we'd arm wrestle, and you'd let me raise my hand a bit, and just before you crushed me.
Be strong again, father. Take it off. I beg you.
Are we talking about the Jorin or Elrond at this point again? Mind you, that is something Elrond would say to his father as well. The king, though, doesn't care at all. A dwarf should never beg. Turns around and just smashes into the wall. For some reason, the mining battering ram worked. So they go through the hole that he's made.
Come and see my son!
It's alright, mate. I've seen it before. It just looks like the insides of Elrond. They see the original lightning strike, which created the mithril for some reason that nobody needed to know. And with that, he forgives the king. I know I thought the ring was evil, but look at the wealth you've given us. Obviously, everything's fine now.
It's not our mountain, father.
You're gonna cut his hand off a second ago, and now it's like, oh, well, I guess we forgot about that now. The issue is light appears. Rumbling happens.
Run, father!
He doesn't run. Yes, the whip comes up and, well, to be fair, you've probably seen this scene before. Wraps around his ankle. I remember. Why did the Balrog wrap around his ankle and pull him 20 centimeters before stopping? Nobody knows, but it did make a shot that was remarkably like Lord of the Rings. It's no coincidence, I tell you. With that, though, they see the Balrog. And he does look cool, but it'd be a shame if he just, like, appeared and then went away for absolutely no reason whatsoever, wouldn't it? I don't know what Jorin thought he was going to do. You can't even reach him, you've got tiny little arms. And quite easily get knocked about because you're so small. You see the Balrog, though, trying to climb the mountain and all the rock keeps crumbling in front of him. All I'm saying, maybe if he was a bit more gentle, it'll hold. And he ends up falling back down. Oh, he's definitely going to climb back up then, right?
Durin!
Durin, I need to have a little conversation with you for absolutely no reason whatsoever. Now, at this point, he decides it's the best moment to take the ring off. Your son was going to cut your hand off. Absolutely no effect. But now that you need it in order to have the power to fight an evil god, no, I don't need the extra strength for this. It'll be fine. Wouldn't want to wear this ring. Might be too OP and take the fun out of it.
I never let you lift your hand, just you getting stronger.
I would never deliberately let my child think he could win a game with me. Parenting! And so, leaving his main weapon on the floor.
Forgive me, my son.
Because I'm about to be an idiot. He turns around to face the Balrog. Again, you're using a melee weapon against a Balrog, which is... How are you going to reach him? If you think he's going to jump at that creature and that'd be shoot, you'd be right. I mean, look, he's not even going to make it anyway. Even if the guy didn't get absolutely battered, he's never going to make it to the monster. And if he did, then what? This creature's made of fire. But you see his fire whip sword thing come at him, collide with the axe. And it explodes for some reason, which they never explain. What I do know is the king's death is entirely pointless, and I don't know why it's happening. And then the scene ends. That was very much a visuals first scene with no plot. They freed the Balrog, right? It's going to immediately No, it just goes away for the rest of the episode. I don't know why. Oh, well, a little dwarf attacked me with an axe. Better go back to sleep now. I don't know. You already proved he can climb that shaft whenever he wanted. Why has he gone back to bed? There's no time for that, though. The showrunners haven't thought of answers yet. So, we're with our grand elf. I suppose when you've got to wrap up every storyline, it has to be very quick, very wham-bam, thank you, ma'am. Much like Sauron in Celebrimbor. Now, as he's walking through the store home, the Dark Wizard appears, though.
Manwë promised you would come.
I ship him. I tell you, this show is just full of people coming from all over the place. He starts talking to him as a friend, though. There were 5 of us, we're kin.
Gandalf, with the other wizards, arrived at around year 1000 of the Third Age.
You were the one that convinced me to leave the West to come here. And I'm like, hang on. He didn't just travel from the West on a boat. He came from the pissing sky. This isn't like the elves arriving. He says, though, that you understood. None of us could actually take Sauron alone.
But I was told you wished to ally yourself with Sauron.
You journeyed to...
We're not going to answer that question. That's not suspicious. I promise I'm not evil. He promises, though, if you join me, I'll tell you your name, your past. I'll even give you your gand. He says staff, but come on. That's an elf in need of a gand. And he tells him, don't worry about the Harfoots. I've sent people to collect them.
Come.
He's just full of instructions today, isn't he? Oh no! 2 people I don't care about are in trouble.
Poppy, Nori.
I don't know if you noticed the difference there.
Poppy, Nori.
Poppy. Nori! I care about both of them, but not Poppy. Yeah, Poppy. Nori! I tell you, Alf, you should see what I'd do to you if I had a gand.
They were not to be harmed.
Once you have given us all that we were promised.
I'm sorry. This guy was telling the Harfoots, well, if you deny him, you'll see what happens to you. Immediately turns around and starts talking back to him.
My people were once kings, wizard.
I mean, he got what he deserved. If you're too thick to be able to understand power dynamics, you get what you deserve. This person is obviously stronger than you. They can beat you at any time they want. Don't talk back to him, you silly bint. So they run off and he saves the Harfoots.
We tried to find you.
They didn't try to find him at all. They literally woke up, found a store, and went home with him. They didn't even look for him.
Dark Wizard.
Look who's talking.
That is a name I do not embrace.
Yeah, she should know better than to show such discriminatory language. He lives in the desert, what does she expect? He says, though, the name, thinking his evil was placed among my men long ago. Ignorant people. Obviously, my actions today should lead you to know better of me. I'm like, well, you did kill a bloke. Yeah, but he deserved it. He's literally threatening the lives of 2 innocent people, and so he saved them. There are many things in this series you could criticize it. This isn't one of them, and this is the only event they know about.
This the sort of action you mean?
Yeah, he saved your pissing lives, you ungrateful cow.
You pity him whose blade was at your throat.
Yes.
Well, you're just an idiot. I mean, there's nothing else for it. I can't defend that. I wish he'd got it. At least then he would have got some pleasure in his sad little life. And if I have to pay the price for him to have enjoyment in his life, then that's what I'm gonna do.
Pity will not defeat Sauron.
But he asks him, if you defeated Sauron, would that suffice, or would you simply replace him with your rule?
Walk with me, and in time, we will both be his successors.
And he didn't like that. I don't want power. I want to have a knife at my throat like them, because that's what happens to the good guys. We have our throats slit.
I would sooner walk this desert forevermore, nameless and forgotten.
Well, that can be arranged. You are in rings of power. Very few people are going to see it. Even fewer remember it.
Then you give me little choice, old friend.
Yes, and with that, he casts his magic. Obliterates a mountain, and we get a scene that, to be honest, just reminded me of Kenobi. So everyone pegs it. I hope that losing all the people you care about will give you a taste of what's to come. And to be honest, he did ask for it. Their response to, should that guy have killed you, was literally yes. All he's doing is fulfilling their wishes. And so rocks collapse on Harfoots. I mean, honestly, it's an improvement. And just as we were about to get another one, unfortunately. I can control it with my mind. And I'm just like, why are you standing there? Run. You're the person that said run to people because you thought they were too thick to move in the first place. Then it turned out you were. Back now in Numenor, and the evil daughter has gathered together the faithful.
What is the meaning of this?
I was ordered only to gather you here. I've no answers to give.
I was just following orders. That doesn't mean I'm responsible, despite the fact that I've caused all of it. I am but a mere person without dangly bits. You can't hold me accountable for my own actions. I am simply acted upon. I have no agency of my own. You can't blame me for what I'm doing. A man exists. You may think I'm no, that is legitimately the plot of this scene. Because in that moment, fully armed and armoured soldiers walk in. Doesn't even seem I'm not even bothered by it. No, you do what you want, mates, with your swords. Literally march around and surround them all with armed guards. That only ever ends well.
Leaders of the faithful!
The rival political force which aligns against me. Honestly, I don't know why they came here voluntarily, to be honest. He tells them, though, that Miriel was able to bewitch the sea because she's aligned herself with a dark force. So he gives him a piece of paper. We have no idea what's on it.
Sauron.
I mean, why would you believe that? 2 seconds ago, they said the creature is only ruled by the Valar, and now they're like, well, Sauron rules it. Look, I wrote it down on paper. It must be true.
All faithful are now declared traitors of Westernesse.
I'm surprised they weren't before. They were literally lining up behind somebody who was trying to overthrow the ruler. There's no need to look panicked now, love. I couldn't possibly have seen this coming after I gathered all the leaders together and then armed guards marched around them in a circle. Came as a complete surprise. It's not my fault. But the fact that I'm the one that did it all. Cut over to soldiers marching through the city, dragging people out of their homes. There's a reason why you fight in this scenario. And how we burned later thinking, what would it have been like if every night when he went out to make an arrest, they had been uncertain whether they would return? Had people not simply sat in their lairs, paling with terror at every bang of the downstairs door, but understood that they had nothing left to lose? Boldly set up in the downstairs hall an ambush of half a dozen people with axes, hammers, pokers, or whatever else they had. The organs would have very quickly suffered a shortage of officers and transport. The cursed machine would have ground to a halt. Instead, it's no, I'm sure nothing bad will happen. Look, her daughter started it. What could possibly go wrong? Look, it sounds as if everything's going well, doesn't it? Meanwhile, back upstairs, they all start getting dragged off. All going along, I'm sure nothing will happen. And she's like, oh no, accountability. Please, sir, don't hold me responsible for my own actions. I've just seen the consequences of my behavior and I don't like it. Somebody save me. That's exactly the amount of disdain she deserved. So as it's happening, the tree is losing its leaves. The last time that happened, they invaded Middle-earth, created Mordor, and got killed by a volcano. All I'm saying is maybe the tree should keep its opinions to itself. Oh no, I need to protect my father. I never thought that going against the will of my father could have negative consequences. I just wanted to persecute the group that he was a part of, not him. So she finds where he is, which hasn't actually kept up with the news yet.
Father, please.
Just tell him the problem, love. Please, please, sir, please. In this time, you could have gone, the guards are coming. They want to kill you.
There's no time to explain.
You've already had enough time to explain if you opened your pissing gob.
They're coming for you.
Could have led with that, love. As that's the only time he realizes what's going on and that he needs to leave. So as the guard comes, being an incredibly intelligent person, no one can see through her cunning plans.
Are there any faithful in there?
No, move along.
Get out of here. Whatever you do, don't look in that building. Stop it. Stop trying. No, there's no one in there. I keep telling you, no.
Shall I tell Arthur of your insolence?
Having no authority of her own, she has to actually use somebody else's against him. Somebody he is actually scared of, who isn't half his height. Realizing that there definitely is someone in there because you're acting suspicious, but I also don't want to piss off Pharazôn. His hiding place is literally just, no one will see me if I don't move. I half expected him to round the corner and find him with his head in a bucket of sand. It's especially awful when she goes back to talk to him. And somehow he's escaped. Should have escaped that way immediately instead of standing there like a pillock. He immediately runs over to the Queen. We must escape.
We must leave for the west. There are faithful there. My son Anarian amongst them.
What? By the way, I've got this son that I've never mentioned before. Yeah, he's never been in the show, but you're supposed to care about him all of a sudden. Yeah, that's how that works. You got any other children lying around? No, just the daughter I've made up. I won't join you, though. My place is here.
One does not need eyes to lead in the dark.
Or in your case, lead at all. Let's face it. What have you done in 2 series, love? So far, your only achievement is the collapse of the city. You must think me a coward that I would leave you. I can't leave. My place is here.
And where is mine? If not with you.
I ship 'em. Go on, lad. Show her your sword.
It is called Narsil.
Well, it seems like she's going to show him hers instead. Yes, now we get an origin story for the sword, and it turns out that, she just sort of made it in existence for a bit. It's really underwhelming, isn't it? What, do you remember Narsil? Well, it came from her. Everything he has, all the future of it, all came down to some blind bint that was the terrible leader. Have this piece of metal, lad. It's my only contribution to history, besides my legacy of failure.
The white flame.
Should have beheaded her, so it was all a favour, really.
Reclaim your lordship, and with this sword, destiny.
Is that what he told her on their first night together? Take this sword, your destiny. You know, Amazon were right. This show is more entertaining when you ship them. Oh, well, you had to be quite that dramatic about it, but here we are. Oh, sorry, I just cut off her head accidentally. I always get a bit too enthusiastic with a new weapon. Back at Eregion, and for some reason... Yeah, we're still launching trebuchets at Eregion, despite the fact that we've already taken it. Our guys are in the walls, and so randomly bombarding it will just kill your own people. What are you doing? Adar, I love my children. Yeah, keep firing at them. Wipe them out for no reason. They open up the gate, though, to let reinforcements through. We see a guy in a fortified tower, an archer with a great overview of all the enemies. Well, I mean, he used to, but at least there's another one. There's some of that elite training that I've seen. You could fire arrows quickly, unlike the rest of the soldiers. But obviously, as he's in a fortified position, the only sensible thing to do is to leave it. You'll never get up here. I should probably get down there with you, shouldn't I? Yeah. Don't want to be a bad sport about the warfare. Honestly, it went about as well as I expected. He would have still been alive up there. As all the orcs charge through, though, and you can see down the corridor, there's more orcs down that end. Wait, what? It's Galadriel! Either they forgot they showed us orcs down that corridor, or she's indistinguishable from one. To be honest, it's an explanation I'm happy to accept. She's leading people to safety. It's a blonde just like her. Some more women. Some more there. She even kills an orc to protect her ladies. And another one. She can't be stopped. Wait, now there's a kid as well. Oh, it seems that when Celebrimbor said, "Get everyone out of this city, as many people as you can save," Galadriel heard, "Only people without dangly bits." I don't care about the rest. No, they're the most important people to save out of the city, because then they can repopulate the earth with their careers. Now, Eregion, looking a little worse for wear. Okay, a lot worse for wear. But somehow there's a secret tunnel that goes up through the mountain right to the top. An escape for them. This is unguarded, unprotected. Obviously, no one will find this. We're free! Oh no, the orcs are waiting for me. Sorry. We probably should have guarded this entrance. Maybe don't have a secret back way into your city with just a hole. And I have bigger problems with your city being down here next to a mountain and then high ground on the top of it. I thought it was an unassailable mountain. Why weren't the catapults on them? But don't think about it now, we can see it later. Instead, Galadriel had one instruction: keep the ring safe. And now she's surrounded by orcs. She only really has one choice.
I'm the one your lord father wants.
All right, you arrogant little cow. I mean, he could only want me. Have you not seen these peasants behind me? Nobody wants them.
Set them free, and I will go willingly.
Or get Adar or Sauron or Elrond to take their trousers off. Apart from that, I'm not willing to negotiate.
Give me one reason, elf.
I will give you 9.
Would have been, but I'll give you 2. Whee! You might have actually convinced him. Instead... Oh no, she keeps the rings there that she's just immediately given up to the orcs. Whatever you do, Galadriel, keep these rings safe. I will stay here and die in order to guard those rings. Here you go, Mr. Orc. And then we cut over to see what Celebrimbor has been suffering through to try and buy time for Galadriel to get away with the rings, except she's already given them away to the enemy. So all of this is for nothing. This entire scene is for nothing because Galadriel is pathetic. He should have known better than to trust her, really. I like Sauron. I like Sauron. After Celebrimbor proved how evil he was by continuing to make the rings even though he knew that they were going to destroy the world, this is what he deserves. I'm Team Sauron.
Look what you have done to yourself.
You slipped and got shot with 7 different arrows. Now at this point, we can answer the big question. Were Sauron and Celebrimbor lovers? The Hollywood Reporter always asking what the audience wants to know. It might remind people of their own relationships, including romantic. I've fallen in love with Satan himself as well. I don't know what world these people live in, but it is different than mine. There were times when Celebrimbor and Anatar that I wondered there was something romantic underpinning what was going on. I would say that it has a closeness. There's a sort of an intimate tension with it. This has been a source of speculation by the fans of the source material for many years. No, it hasn't. This has been a source of speculation for cretins. I mean, just so happens they're our target demographic. Anytime you're dealing with such powerful emotions as seduction and deception, it's easy to imagine yourself to go there. He's evil, and that just means there's got to be some hammering involved. I think you could see it from the second episode. There are things only I can tell you. You always saw me the way no one else could. You're safe with me. You're seeing that intimate dance. So I could certainly see how people could take that a step further and ship them. I ship them! And Sauron starts describing the orcs. You ever seen orcs in the heat of combat? A frenzy comes over them. They're out of control. Like, no, that's just how they are all the time. Because they're innately evil creatures, Sauron. That's why. Messing with the arrows. Tell me where the rings are, and I will end your suffering right now. And Celebrimbor's only response is, I used to like kingfishers, but they're not around anymore. Oh, utterly destroyed Celebrimbor as a character they have. So as Celebrimbor is lying there, soon I will die, my soul carried away by a winds where you cannot follow.
There are ways of keeping you alive.
I have ways of making you talk, Mr. Bond. Do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Celebrimbor. I expect you to die. And then Celebrimbor kicks off, and this is the worst part of the entire scene. Oh, look, Celebrimbor's predicting the future. It's really easy when you're making a prequel. It doesn't make you intelligent to actually just have known what's going to happen in the future because you've seen the movies and read the book. Well, you might not have read the books. I'm not sure at this point, to be honest.
Treachery so pure it shall betray the very hand that forges it.
Talking about the rings and how they will be Sauron's downfall.
The rings of power shall destroy you.
There's literally no reason for him to think this. He hasn't even made the One Ring yet, which would be his weakness. There is no way that the current rings could lead to his downfall, and yet Celebrimbor's like, no, but I've watched the movies.
One alone shall prove your utter ruin.
I foresee it. Explain to me, Brimbor, if you had the power of foresight, how come you didn't foresee any of this happening? How come when you found out the rings were evil, you still made them? He's like, no, but now I know the future. I've heard the name Frodo, and some might say you have the face of a golem. It doesn't make him seem intelligent just for saying things which happen in the movies. There's no reason for him to think any of this. Sauron was right. Stop just making up lies, Celebrimbor. He's just guessing. He goes, I am their master. I am their creator. No, you are their prisoner. No, not until he makes the One Ring. You idiot. You don't know any of this. It doesn't make you smart.
Lord of the Rings.
It started with Sauron calling him the Lord of the Rings, but no, it turns out Sauron is actually the Lord of the Rings. The story went full circle. Like a ring. Oh, God. We said the same thing twice. It makes us smart. With that, saying the Lord of the Rings, having foreseen the movies, he dies. Sauron cries. I'm just an emotional little puppy. I don't have any of that toxic masculinity. I'm in touch with my fifis. I'm just a crying little Sauron. I know I want to destroy the Earth, but I've cried now and that should make you feel sorry for me. I ship him. At that moment, though, Captain Dad Orc walks in. Are you Mr. Sauron?
Are you Sauron?
I have many names.
Just say yes, you insufferable prick. If someone says that to you, your next question gonna be, is one of them Sauron, though? It's like, come on, many names. One of them's Dave.
What is yours?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't care.
I'm just a nice, evil minion out to make some people suffer on a daily basis. Speaking of things no one cares about, Isildur's holding the knife. Oh, I remember when she stabbed me in the leg. If only I could have jabbed her a few times back, it would have all been worth it. And in comes... I have literally no idea what his name is. Maybe they'll say it in the scene.
How do you live with it? I meant about your mum.
Oh, God. This was in episode 3. His whole speech about that almost did me in the first time. I'm not going through it again. This guy's just a laugh a minute, isn't he? Can you tell me about how you killed your mum? I just want to see you cry again as you talk about your murdering her. He said, I carried it poorly, but I didn't realize it until I came here.
Seems there's grander things here than I thought. Enough to make me realize how small I'd become.
Seems that woman's husband was a bit bigger than our Isildur.
The hot white guy.
I'm so small, I can't follow that. Like a baby's arm holding an apple. Looks like a wizard's staff. But Isildur offers him, you can come with me. No, I prefer it better being on my own. I'm sorry, that kid would not last 3 days in a world on his own. And I can prove it to you. He's too soft to even hunt for himself. But after he leaves, the door reopens.
Change your mind?
Begone, thought! You have a husband. Go and live with him.
To replace the ones.
Yes, the Mordor spy, servant of evil, has come round to try and return some cloth to him.
You can, set it up there.
Oh, no, how about you leave it where you are and go out? I already realised you're a Mordor spy trying to infiltrate Numenor. We don't want your filth around here, thank you. Don't close the door, you're not staying, love. She starts talking about how her husband is building a home for them. He's laying the cornerstone. He's doing the work. And as he laid that foundation, he said something profound.
He asked the gods to keep our love strong as long as the home stood.
Oh, seems like a good guy. He's clearly too good for you. He's not a servant of Sauron.
I always thought his kindness was what love felt like, but when he said it, I felt ill.
Ah, this is that wholesome storytelling that Tolkien's renowned for. I felt ill. What I really wanted to do is to divorce him and go off with my new fancy man because he's got running water in his house. I need an upgrade, folks. A seal. Please, sir, can I infiltrate your country and ruin it with my evil filth? I promise I'm only a servant for Sauron sometimes.
I felt like...
Why are you telling me this?
Because she knows you haven't heard the second half of the phrase that ends in dump. She's a lunatic. You can't take her home. Quick, behead her! Did your only hope Isildur? Why have we got the big music? Da 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 da! I ship them. No, Eddie, don't ship these people. She's filth. It's disgusting. Isildur, your nobility, you can do better. He just found a vagabond in the woods who stabbed him, and he's like, oh, I can't resist you. Throw her back in the sewer where she came from, Isildur.
Come with me.
I think that was what she was aiming for, mate. You've literally created a couple so horrific even I can't ship them.
She's in disgrace.
Come with me to Numenor.
What a prat! He literally gave an entire speech about how she only wanted to infiltrate Numenor so she could bring it down from the inside because she was a servant of Mordor and Sauron. And he's like, oh, I need to take you home to Numenor! That way you can ply your evil trade with other people. Don't worry, 2 weeks in that city, you'll have found another upgrade. So she can't believe a lock because she's actually landed somebody who is entirely gullible. Rather horrifically, though, we cut to somebody else who is, oh, what I would do for a likeable character in this show.
Low men of Pelargir. Salutations.
I do quite like the idea of low men. It's like peasant, but even more insulting. You low man, kiss my boots. Doesn't quite roll off the tongue like peasant though, does it? The peasants are revolting.
Theo, son of Bronwyn.
Why do you think he'd care? Who's Bronwyn? She was an apothecary at a random town. You must all know Bronwyn.
Bring the surveyor's equipment.
Completely ignores him, as he should, until...
Didn't hear. This is Theo. His mother was Bronwyn.
So, what did she actually, do? Apart from start shagging one of her guards, obviously. Obviously.
Of course she was. And who are you?
I'd quite like to try and pull off an elf, but I don't think I've got it in me to do that.
Look, they're all pointless and irrelevant to the plot. Does anybody care? But he tells them the agreement with the Queen has changed. We're going to build a watchtower and turn this city into a fortress for the guard. He seems a bit taken aback to see Isildur, although maybe it's the wench behind him. Oh, Isildur, I see you found a lowman.
Everyone said there were no survivors left.
There wouldn't be, if not for Beric.
Who the f*** is Beric? This show just randomly says names out of nowhere like you're supposed to know who they are. There'll just be a random thing, it's like, oh yeah, you know Glog. It's like, who's Glog? Are you telling me I was supposed to remember a horse's name? You're having a laugh. This guy up here looks like the one who had the sword that worked for Mordor. Thing is, they'll let Isildur return to Numenor, but they're not having him bring the peasant with him. Because it seems like everybody in the world has more sense than Isildur. And then the problem is, when he goes, well, one more shouldn't be a problem. Excuse me? That's my wife, you low man scum.
No passage for low men.
Based. Stay here where you belong in the filth and the dirt, Isildur.
I survived an eruption.
I'm not sure why I should care. I am not bringing that skank back to Numenor. I survived a volcano. Congratulations. I've watched all of Valma. What's your point? We've all looked the apocalypse in the eye.
My sister's a guild member. My father, post-captain to Queen Regent Miriam.
I do like how he's giving everyone else's achievements rather than his own. You've got to take me with you. My dad did something. I have a sister. So he just tells him, well, your father's wanted for treason. treason, my father's king, and this is my new fortress?
I saved your life.
Isn't he an architect? When was he even in danger? You can't expect anyone to remember season 1 of this show.
Disrespect me again, and you really will be lost in Middle-earth.
No one can make that promise. It's far too easy. The best I can say is I'll give you the respect you deserve. But he says, if any of you want to eat, if you want supplies, you have to keep supplying timber for my army, and so we can build ships for Numenor. This is a problem considering they promised the Ents they wouldn't cut down trees. Was a bit stupid to say you wouldn't cut down trees outside of your city, wasn't it really? I don't know what you thought you were going to do there.
They're in trees.
Oh no, they're not only trees. Besides, I don't have any lumber to spare. I was planning to give all my wood to that man's wife over there. Now, Galadriel is being escorted by about 6 orcs, which, you know, I'm sure she could defeat with a hairpin. Despite this, she stumbles across a door. He says, leave us. Well, he seems to be praying to Morgoth's helmet, which is a bit odd.
I accept your terms, Uruk.
I mean, the problem with that is, you already did. The first time she met him, she agreed to all of his plan, and it was him that going, no, I'm going to invade anyway. So I don't know what terms she's agreeing to.
I have what Sauron seeks.
Surely the orcs have what Sauron seeks, because you would have given them the rings, right? The orcs didn't let you keep the rings, surely. Because he says, how can you destroy Sauron when you don't even have your ring? Wasn't it Sauron who wanted to destroy your ring in the first place?
Before Sauron ravaged her.
And it turns out the ring being on his finger has cured him of being an orc. I am now a grand elf.
I was known by another name.
Celeborn! It's not, but they definitely left it open so it could have been.
Earlier version of the story where Adar was going to be killed earlier on.
We actually found out why in one of the interviews.
But Simon Tolkien felt that that was a really important character who merited further exploration.
Yeah, he wasn't even supposed to be in the series, but it was Simon who was like, oh.
Yeah, and so he ended up having a larger story than we'd initially anticipated.
He's such a great character. Who wasn't in Tolkien's work? No, but he's our creation, my creation. You've got to keep my creation in Rings of Power. That'll be awesome.
What was it?
A meaningless name.
Could have been Celeborn though, couldn't it? So he says, I earned the name Adar under the orcs. Let me earn my original name back. And so he gives her the ring back and his face starts transforming back into his orc self. None of this makes any sense. She wanted to ally with him before. He attacked Eregion for absolutely no reason, knowing it was Sauron's plan. And now, when it's all over and he's invaded Eregion and done and achieved what he wanted, for absolutely no reason he's changing his mind. What was the point of attacking Eregion, getting the ring from Elrond specifically? Also, you could just immediately hand it back. This plot makes no sense. His motivations make no sense. I don't think he has motivations. I need you to have the ring for the movie, so I've got to give it you back.
Help me vanquish Sauron with it.
She was going to help you vanquish Sauron with it before. And he says, if you help me defeat Sauron, I will recall my children back to Mordor and we'll live in peace with everybody else forever. I'll restrain their innate evil, I promise.
I have slain more of your children than any elf alive.
I mean, firstly, based. Secondly, I don't believe you. Thirdly, this is the deal that you were going to have earlier in the series that he turned down. Why are we just repeating the story beat? I forgive you for killing my children. I wouldn't.
Let this ring heal the rift between Elf and Uruk.
Take this evil ring. It'll give us peace.
Let us create a lasting peace in Middle-earth.
Yeah, that'll definitely happen, I'm sure. At that moment, though, they bring back the wounded Glog, or whatever his name is. Ah, but I've got 9 evil rings close to my heart. I hope Sauron can destroy all of them for me. They say, though, they found Sauron. Sauron demanded that he betray you, but he refused.
It's too late.
I never saw that coming. It's such a surprise. Oh, so that orc's arc is that because he had a father and a wife and seems to behave entirely different than all the other orcs, they're just innately evil, whereas he's like, I just want peace. So he got pissed at Adar because Adar was waging war on Sauron, so then he signed up with Sauron to betray Adar. Well, Sauron just wants war with everybody else anyway. He has absolutely no motivation for swapping sides at any point whatsoever, but here we are. What was the point of swapping sides to be with Adar against Sauron if you're just going to be on Adar, just going to go back to Sauron afterwards? Now, during all of this, Galadriel just stands there like a wet fish. Like, this is how I behave with Sauron. Absolutely no movement whatsoever. Meanwhile, they reenact the first scene from the start of the series, just Caesaring him while she watches. I get the feeling that's not the first time she's been watching. Also, once again, if you notice, the first scene from the first series links around to an identical scene in the finale of season 2. It goes full circle, like a ring. If you think I'm taking the piss, the reason for that is because there was a podcast that they did at the end of the first series where they literally used that line. And it seems like they continued that thinking later on. But Sauron's here. He sneaked up on Galadriel, who's still standing still. The crowned Morgoth, which isn't the crown of Morgoth, but here we are.
Galadriel.
Get down on your knees and make it lovely. I kind of like how he just walks past her as if she's nothing. I also don't like how villains walk past people that could kill them as if they're nothing. You'd take advantage when they're weak. Dar's like, my children, as they're stabbing him in the face. No point did it occur to him. Maybe I've been a bad parent. Maybe they're just evil scum and I shouldn't have tried to parent them in the first place. But Sauron orders the disgusting filth, which is the orc, to raise a Region. Leave no elf alive.
But bring me their leaders.
Oh no, maybe I should be trying to escape. If only I had a brain, I would have already gone by now. She's still standing there, you know, in the background. I mean, leave? Come on.
This was your design from the beginning.
How could it be? Everything that happened was just basically luck. How could he have predicted that Adar was going to be so stupid that he would do what he wanted while also knowing he was Sauron? Oh, I hate Sauron, so I'm going to do his plan. Nobody can predict that amount of stupidity.
You think too much of me.
At least he's honest. He's like, no, you're insane. If you weren't all thick as pig shit, none of this would have happened. We're going to defend with the helmet, and while it does seem to be quite good at parrying due to all the little spikes, the continuity person isn't quite as good. He sees that she's got the ring of power on her finger.
The more beautiful than Celebrimbor led me to believe.
Didn't say the same thing about Galadriel, though, did he? Oh, you're exactly the same as I remember. Bit older. That jewelry's nice, though. Sauron knows how to get all the ladies. Now, we do get the bit of a sword fight where at the start, he's absolutely dominating her. She's trying really hard and he's just like, yeah, whatever. This is so easy, which is what it would be. It's what you'd expect. It changes later for absolutely no reason whatsoever. But at least at the start, it behaves how it should.
Give me your ring.
I want to destroy your ring, Galadriel.
And the 9.
Didn't know she had 9 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, I suppose you can make 9. I just don't think that's what Tolkien had in mind. He's not even trying in the fight. Oh, look at this. So I'm just fighting some random Welsh bird. It's fine. I'm in no danger here. He could just like cut a face off though. That would be a plus point. I don't like how they both cross each other with their backs to each other. If either one was facing the other one, they'd be dead. But he keeps taking slices out of her with a sword, playing with her. And I like the look. He's like, oh no, fine. If we have to. The way he's acting really summarizes the audience. Back at Eregion, though, we have
Gilgalad Daddy,
who hides his ring of power. They're burning books.
No! The wisdom of all who ever dwelt in this place.
What do you think an orc would care about that? I'm an evil creature that just wants to eat people. But now you've appealed to me about knowledge. Obviously, I'll save it. Orcs, renowned for their reading ability, aren't they, really?
It's valuable.
Basically, the home of civilization. Obviously, someone of such low stock can be reasoned with.
It's beyond jewels or even blood. Take our lives.
But don't take our freedom! I mean, we all saw that coming. No, you can kill us, just don't burn those manuscripts. What a puss.
Cowardly traitor!
Again, when someone's got a knife to your throat, calling them a cowardly traitor. You have no power here. Secondly, why are you calling him a traitor? He's not an elf. He's an entirely different civilization, an entirely different nation. Of course, he doesn't care about your country. He can't be a traitor to your country. He's not of your country. And it gets worse when in the interview you find out this.
All of this is actually fostering in him someone who already has the idea of bringing cultures together. He's going to build a place of his own that'll learn from all those lessons.
If anything, this should put you off that. This place was great when it was just the elves. Now, they do have the problem that when you start shoving them down on the ground and pressing on it, very clearly not metal armor, it's like rubber or something. So that was a bit of a mistake. Elrond, though, takes his chance. Take him. Must be imagining them all as Galadriel. This is what you need in the series, men doing men things. Okay, I don't know why he went up as if he was covered in petrol. Maybe he'd just eaten a lot of people recently and had a high fat content. Lots of fuel available. They're lucky though, because Sauron wanted their leaders unharmed, and so they're just captured rather than, well, treated how the orcs would treat anyone else. Then we have Arondir in, and he's like, you should be dead. He got stabbed multiple times with swords. Adar definitely killed him. But Elrond stands there as they burn the scrolls. Oh no, please. Don't burn the knowledge of how to make evil rings of Sauron. This is such a sad day. Yeah! It seems the finale is where everyone gets their comeuppance. She's still leaving herself open, he's slashing her around, and like I say, he should just easily win. He's toying with her. There's no way she should be able to get the upper hand. Oh yeah, and then we do the crown thing, which we've seen in the trailers, and they didn't fix the problem from the trailers in the show. As you can see, his sword is coming through, and all he has to do is turn it to the left, and he'd cut her neck. Her sword is doing exactly the same, and all she had to do is turn it to the right, and she'd cut his neck. Gets worse, though. Because at the moment, her sword is going up and through the crown, so it's going from the bottom and then up over the top of the lip. So you could at least say that these spikes are stopping it in some way. That is until you get the different angle.
Surely you of all.
Where you can see that her sword just goes underneath it. Like, it's not even locked in it. She could literally just pull her sword down and it'd be free. Or stab and it'd go through him. Or twist around because there's big gaps around the metal. Yeah, no, I'm just gonna hold it here for no reason.
Elves must understand.
Of course, every time we switch camera, we put our swords in a different place. And so now it's going back up and over the crown again, rather than underneath it.
But to find the light, we must first touch the darkness.
Wait, how do you know that? That's going back to the speech at the start of the first series.
But sometimes the lights shine just as brightly reflected in the water as they do in the sky.
Sometimes we cannot know till we have touched the darkness.
It was terrible then, it's terrible now. Oh, the light and the darkness.
But to find the light, we must first touch the darkness.
I can't remember her even telling him that at any point. Maybe she did. But either way, this is something that happened at the start of the first episode of the first series, and then this final episode of the second series. The story went full circle. Like a ring. No, they do think this is clever. Then we have a new shot where you can see that her sword is up over his shoulder now. So it was going underneath the crown, and now she must have moved it down, so it's kind of at this angle, and she could just cut his head off.
We are not alike. We never were.
Yes, he's far better than you, Galadriel. I don't even know how you managed that, love. Oh, but I faked with the sword before actually going in for the kick. You never expected that, did you? I'm better than Sauron! Evil in the front, dainty in the back. She stops from her lethal strike, though, when she sees Hellbrand for no reason whatsoever. Oh, but I loved you. I can't possibly attack you now. Despite the fact I know you're the same person. He tells her when I was fighting onto your side, I just wanted to hold on to that feeling. Oh, he's turned into a second Galadriel behind a rock. There's your $200 million.
They could no longer distinguish me from the evil I was fighting.
I'm not surprised Sauron turned into two Galadriels. I'm just surprised he didn't do it before. I mean, no wonder he wanted to meet her again, despite the fact, obviously, that this Galadriel has an entirely different body type. He's like, oh, I've dreamed of this moment. So once again, he's still winning the sword fight. Just cut her head off. You've already got one Galadriel you can wear whenever you want. I mean, all the best bits are still there, whether she is or not, let's be honest. You've got all the useful bits. Oh, I mean, that's not going to win the sword fight, is it? Turning into a granny. His body's going to be really athletic.
Are they not the seeds you planted?
Again, how does he know that? Because that was in her dream that she had when she was wearing the ring. It was one of her visions, which she definitely never told him about, or anyone about. How do you know the lines that I said in my own head, Sauron? Yes, they collapse. And Sauron gets the upper hand. Now, the other problem with this is, as he can control her mind and therefore what she's seeing, I don't know if you remember the end of the previous episode. He could have done that to Galadriel whenever he wanted, just had her stab herself. But no, I suppose he wanted to stab her instead.
Oh! She's an elf disgrace.
But he's like, I see you. I know your mind. The door is still open. That's why I can control you. But for some reason, I didn't use that to control you. He doesn't have to use a weapon. He could make her do whatever he wanted, but no.
The door's shut.
I mean, that's just rude. You made a second Galadriel. What more do you want? You can have all the attention. Oh, she's so much better at fighting now, all of a sudden, for absolutely no reason whatsoever. Look, if she was worried in the first season because people were running at her, imagine how she feels now. But after showing how much of a girl boss she was, she manages to get a cut on his cheek. Ignore the cut on his face that they should have done earlier, which they never put in makeup. Yeah, we forgot about that one, but I suppose it doesn't count. We didn't put it in makeup because we immediately turned into Celebrimbor, who we didn't put it on his makeup either and forgot about it. Oh, it's just the one cut then, even though we cut him in the same place twice. Sauron, though, he may be dainty in the back, but he's had enough. Blocking her sword with his crown. Based
economy.
They actually did something I didn't think they'd do. Make her lose. Maybe in the next series we'll get to see Galadriel be a bit more humble, eh? Oh no, I'm a little bit weepy.
I would have placed a crown upon your head.
To be fair, I much prefer the crown through her heart. I'm here for it. Instead, he says, I would have brought Middle-earth to its knees in front of its queen. No, Middle-earth will always resist you. And we see her finally collapse, like she deserves. He picks up the 9 rings made of his blood, proving that Celebrimbor died for literally nothing.
The rings are mine.
Yes, and I hope Galadriel doesn't go, oh, but I've seen the future because I've watched the movies and I know what's going to happen. No, instead, he looks down as a horn bellows in the city. And at this point, I'm like, oh no, this is the worst designed city in the world. Not only is there a mountain next to it that you can apparently dam a river up and just go around the wall, but there's actually a back entrance into the city. You can see all these steps leading down from the mountain just into the city. There's no wall here to protect it. That is on top of where they are, on top of a mountain, looking down onto the city. The trebuchet, the catapults, they should have been up here. They could have rained down with high ground advantage onto the city. All this city's defenses are rendered meaningless because there's just a mountain behind you that avoids them all. But just as everyone's about to die, and I've got to be honest, that's one hell of a pause face.
Gilgadaddy.
He's like, we're gonna die, Elrond. Give me a kiss. Don't call me High King Gilgadaddy for nothing.
Gilgadaddy.
Oh yeah, he's just saying dwarves, but for some reason he had to pucker up first. Dwarves, Elrond, dwarves. You remember the dwarves? Those night with the dwarves?
The dwarves are coming! Durin will come. Durin will come. Durin will come. Durin will come.
They're gonna destroy your ring! Yeah, the dwarves appear and they're here to save the day and nobody knows why. This is another thing that doesn't make any sense. They do crossbow all the orcs. Somehow Arondir just starts fighting despite the fact that he should have severe blood loss and organ failure by now. Doesn't seem to stop him though. He saves Gilgadaddy, who for some reason the orc hasn't just... You can see all his mates dying and see the dwarves there, he's just standing there. Should I do something, folks? But Elrond only has eyes for one dwarf. Durin! I mean, honestly, I don't know how you think that's Durin. They're all the same height, how do you know? I guess you don't.
The prince is in mourning.
Why is he in mourning? There's a Balrog downstairs. You should be fighting, preparing defenses, not mourning. How are you here? The only reason they held back the army in the last episode is in case the king broke through the wall and awoken the evil underneath them. They needed the army to protect their city because the Balrog would be attacking. The thing is, all of that has happened. The king knocked down the wall. The Balrog did attack. They need the army to defend against the Balrog. How is it here? And if you were going to send it here anyway, why keep it back for the Balrog in the first place? Something that at the time you didn't know was going to happen. You sent the army at the worst possible moment when it made the least sense. Script writing! Sauron, though, is beaming his desires into Galadriel's face.
Give me your ring.
Yes, Galadriel. Finally, everything you wanted. I'm going to take your ring.
Ride you to victory.
It's on my left hand, so I'll do a double-handed one.
Yeah.
Please, sir, can you take it twice? Let me stand here and look all dainty for you, Sauron. Remember.
Galadriel, your ring.
It's a good bloke.
Yeah. She's like, oh, gladly, Sauron. I've always wanted this moment. You gave Celebrimbor your spear, but I've not seen you all series. And so, as she gets her ring ready to be destroyed by Sauron, she pulls a rope-a-dope.
You wish to heal Middle-earth.
You're gonna have to heal me after you're done with me.
I didn't become a little bit of a slag. I became a total slag.
Before Sauron ravaged her.
Heal yourself.
Got him! Wasn't really the badass line I was expecting. You want to heal Middle-earth? Well, heal yourself. Go heal yourself! Wait, what? No, go ship yourself. That would have been a way better insult. The showrunners kept hearing the audience going, we want Shippy back, and misheard it, and thought they said shipping. To be fair, this is my favourite moment of the episode. What a boss! And so, as Galadriel jumps off a cliff... Oh no, she isn't being captured by any special eagle here. In fact, High King Gilgadaddy is like, hang on, I can sense something. It's as if a million voices all cheered at once. And you just see her. Based.
You shall not pass.
Exactly what you needed.
Yeah. Of course, Glug comes up to him though. We're overwhelmed. We must retreat. The dwarves are chasing us. We're losing the fight.
With you, many orders.
Got what he deserves. I don't care. Oh, no. You're supposed to feel sorry for him because he's got a baby at home that was just eating humans. No, you were supposed to like this guy. Hasn't he just shown you that he wants peace before he betrayed everybody? A traitor to his people got what he deserved. If only he'd stayed in Mordor rather than invading other cities, none of this would have happened and everyone would have been better off. He got what he deserved. Now, for some reason, Sauron doesn't go down here with his army or anything to try and get the ring. No, it's lost. Galadriel somehow survived the fall and hasn't just been, like, flattened. And Gil-Gadaddy realizes something's gone horribly wrong.
These are not merely wounds of the body, wounds of the Gil-Gadaddy.
This must be her dark soul eating at her body.
A very immortal spirit is being drawn into the Shadow Realm.
Well, I mean, that is where she belongs. Personally, I'm here for it. Unfortunately, though, it seems like all of the rings can heal people now, and so that's what he tries, except the evil of Morgoth's helmet, apparently, is too strong for it.
The darkness is too powerful. I cannot save her.
You mean your ring can't save her? This guy never used his ring to heal anyone before, literally been in a battlefield surrounded by people, didn't think, hang on, I can heal all of you and get my soldiers back to life. No, only Galadriel. And Elrond thinks, hang on, I've got a ring as well. Sauron's already destroyed her ring once, but what if I destroyed it later? I need you to be alive, Galadriel, so I can bang your daughter.
I can.
I can bang the life back into her.
We can.
If the three of us combine, we can take turns until the life force is enough. If we combine the powers of toxic masculinity, we can get enough testosterone together to form a single man. They were really proud of this shot. Oh, he's looking down the camera and breaking the fourth wall.
Through the camera, right at the audience, and you have this direct moment of communing with Elrond.
It's so powerful.
When we were in editorial, we literally looked at that shot, we said, hold it longer.
Now this is supposed to be him realizing that the rings aren't evil. He's trusting them. Together we can use their power for good. It's like, yeah, but
Elrond makes this choice to finally trust his friend and say, no, the rings are good.
The shipwreck told him they were evil. Now it would have been better if he's like, well, this ring probably is evil, but, you know, at least I'll do some good with it. No, this is just him accepting that these rings are good. Galadriel's right. So we cut back to the Harfoots. I don't think anyone's sure why. At this moment, she doesn't have any crap in her hair. Don't move that wood. It's his Gand. Elf.
Mr. Burrows sat me down, told me some things can't be fixed.
Duh. That'd be the same Mr. Burrows is like, well, we could try and fix the wheels on there, but no, leave them behind. If they fall behind, they just die, all right? Just accept it. They're already I know they're screaming at us. They're already dead, trust me. You can't fix it. There's no point in fixing it. We could spend some time here and fix it, but we can't be bothered. Leave them. Accept it.
Some things lost are lost forever.
I mean, we could spend what is a lot of time and effort to try and save people. We can't be bothered. Mr. Burrows was a prick. Now, for some reason, all the dwarves are just staring at a chair. Oh, it's an empty throne. It's symbolic. There's a Balrog downstairs trying to eat your faces. Fight it. Wall up the cave. Do something. It's gone away now. I'm sure it won't come back. Why did it go away in the first place? But as a Region burns. And we're supposed to think that Mr. Burrows is right to leave all of his people to die.
No matter how hard we fight.
Burrows didn't fight very hard. His first instinct was, well, put him at the back of the bus. Leave him at the end. We don't care. And so, as Isildur leaves, the married couple that he tried to break up, still together. She's like, well, if I can't trade up...
I always thought his kindness was what love felt like, but when he said it, I felt ill.
Guess I better go back to the guy that I can't stand. Look, as long as I'm leeching and manipulating somebody, does it really matter who it is? What a lovely person. If only he'd fallen in love with me, I could have leeched off somebody who had higher status. Ah!
Better than any of us.
So if he's got any sense, he's like, whew, dodged a bullet there. We've got the Queen in chains. Stop it. But he's escaped the town. They won't catch me. I've ridden off alone and left my people to die. Aren't I such a brave leader?
We've just got to accept it. What's broke is broke and won't fix.
Can we stop using one of the most evil hobbits of all of existence as some kind of moral life lesson? Oh, well, it's already broken. Should probably just let him die. I mean, that's horrible. There's hardly there's something in the world worth fighting for, Frodo, is it? Well, might as well just give up. Yes, I know the family, but their wheel broke and we can't be bothered to fix it. Just leave them. So the Harfoots leave and, Nori has put the crap back in her hair. Apparently this has actually been about Nori learning her lessons rather than the stranger.
Don't be a stranger now.
I know that was subtle, but maybe you can tell what's coming. It's what I like about this show. The subtlety! It's like a sledgehammer to the face. Because the very next line is...
Thank you kindly, Grand Elf.
Ah, thank you, Grand Elf! Admittedly, it's not as nice a delivery as mine would have been. To defeat you, I require that Gand, Elf. It would have been so much better. But no.
Goodbye, Grand Elf.
Instead, he gets given it by a simpleton and his mum, two degenerate desert hobos.
Grand Elf.
Hang on, Grand Elf? Am I getting my name because I misheard a hobo? I think I am.
They've never seen an elf before. Never even left home before.
To be fair, the showrunners have never made a show before either, so, you know, firsts all around, really. So Nori says, you know, I had a dream.
We'd walk the wastes of this world, eating snails and beetles till the sun ran out of days.
I mean, when you make it sound so entertaining and pleasurable, honestly, I don't know how he could have resisted such a marvelous future. We could have eaten beetles and snails together forever.
It's high time I walked my path.
I'm just surprised we didn't see a sigh of relief. Thank God. At least I don't have to eat any more snails, you disgusting pervert.
We're very different creatures, Nori.
She's a degenerate sloth that eats creepy crawlies.
Not so different at all, you ask me.
And so she goes off with the Harfoots, presumably to find her people still roaming the land, before she inevitably creates the Shire, realizing that we need a home. A static home. She'll argue with the people there want to move on. She's like, no, but the Shire. And Gandalf cries, someone fetch me my Gand. And so, as he walks away, kick something. Oh, look, it's a Gand, and I'm an elf. I think this is my elf's Gand. I must check if this is my correct elf. Gand. And so, as Tom Bombadil is pouring a tea out of a hedgehog, like, this was all a test, wasn't it? I was supposed to choose my friends. He's like, well, he did tell you, actually. When he was like, you can go out here, find your staff, and have power to fight Sauron, he also said you're only going to find your staff if you follow the flame, and the flame was telling you to go and save your friend. So, I mean, I don't know if this was supposed to be a reveal, but it was so obvious.
Another one of your riddle.
What, for children? I was meant to choose friendship over power to help people. I was meant to find my Gand. Elf?
A wizard does not find his staff. It finds him.
This guy is a retard. Gandalf clearly found his staff. He literally walked along and kicked it. He didn't walk along and go, hello, I'm your Gand elf. He says your name, discovers you as well.
Gandalf.
No, Grand Elf. He literally gets his name because he misheard a hobo. Could you drag this man any lower? He can't even hear his own name correctly.
That's what they're going to call me, isn't it?
Well, they're going to call you Grand Elf. And then you're just a bit deaf in your left ear, so you'll mishear them all the time.
Now let the song begin.
And they mean it, actually.
Let us sing together.
Oh, they're talking about when the earth was created. You could take that reading, or you could take...
Sandflies in the grass, bees around the willow.
Still, I mean, I'd rather listen to them sing than Lady Gaga.
Now let the song begin. Let us sing together.
We cut over to the dwarves again, who still aren't talking about the Balrog, which is attacking their city. Oh, Region's fallen. The dwarves are spreading out, recuperating. Tell Elrond Khazad-dûm is ready to dispatch aid. If he has any problem with his ring, I'm always here to hammer it whenever he needs.
We have troubles of our own, my love.
Yes, like there's a Balrog about to eat you all.
Your father's passing has left us in a tangle.
Because there's a Balrog beneath us.
The lords of the Blue Mountains paid him vast tributes.
I'm sorry, the Balrog, not the first thing you mentioned. Instead, she talks about how the Dwarven Kings paid tributes. And it's like, yeah, they did. They paid tributes. They got their rings of power. That's the trade. That's what the deal was. I don't think she knows what a tribute is, though.
They're demanding to collect.
They've got nothing to collect. A tribute isn't a loan. We give you money, you give us rings. They had their rings.
Rumours fly that you are not your father's preferred heir.
Now we're talking about being the heir. There's a Balrog under the city about to wipe us out. No, but we don't know if you popped out of his dangly bits. The Dwarven lords are arraying against you. They're gathering power.
Your brother seems to be gathering support.
Who the is his brother? I can't remember his brother. I don't know if we've ever seen him. He's not been in this series. If he's going to be a major character, maybe just have him show up for a bit. You can't go, your brother is making a claim, and everyone goes, well, where's he been then? You can't say he rules the kingdom when he's not been in it at any point. Yes, the ring's there. The ring of power. The evil ring, which we can't use. Are we going to discuss the Balrog? No, we're not. We talk about all the problems of the king, not the Balrog. Surely the most imminent threat. Instead, we're over to Galadriel. She hasn't woken up like that since last time Sauron was in the room. And I don't know if they've done it deliberately. She definitely seems brighter than she was before. Maybe she's the Lady of Light literally now. Possibly have it so the ring sort of imbued her with their power, and that's where she gets all her magic from and stuff. I bet it is. This is the excuse of why she could be a swordsman before and then turned into a mage.
I've never known you to be such peaceable company.
What he really means is, I wish you remained dead.
I believe I was growing accustomed to it.
Weren't we all? He's even getting grey in his hair now after healing her wounds. Rest though. We are safe here.
What is this place?
The sanctuary, protected by the elven rings.
We made Rivendell while you were unconscious. I don't know whether they're going to say that them using the rings to heal her created that place, because they had to pump so much of the ring's magic into her that it sort of created a safe zone. That'll be interesting. So he gives her his ring back. Like, oh, they're proposing. I ship them. It's just like they're married now, for real, for reals. All I'm saying is when you put a magic evil ring on someone's finger, they shouldn't have a reaction like an addict getting the next fix. That's not a good sign, is it really? Oh, this is amazing. I haven't felt like this since the last time you fingered my ring. So Arondir is here and he's absolutely fine despite getting stabbed multiple times. Barely an inconvenience. And Gilgadaddy says we're left with a choice. Sauron's armies are spreading out and we have to decide whether we're going to attack them or fall back and ready our defenses. Our armies are weakened, our people are broken. They have no stamina, no will for this.
All Middle-earth is within his reach now, even Lindon.
Well, you probably shouldn't have given him 9 rings of power then, should you, Galadriel?
What course would you advise, Commander Galadriel?
Arondir, shut up. I know you're from a far-off foreign place, but she's not the leader of these armies. That's a king. Elrond led the mission here. She's a peasant. She's Sauron's mistress. But Elrond thinks, no, I need your counsel. Even Gilgadaddy has nothing to say. Oh, Galadriel, person with no dangly bits, please give us our instructions.
I would remember the counsel of our dear friend, Celebrimbor.
Of course you would. That's because you're evil. Celebrimbor was evil. He made evil rings deliberately after finding out that Sauron wanted them made. Then he never told Galadriel that they were evil rings made from Sauron's blood. Galadriel just gave them back because of this. Celebrimbor gave one speech about light and darkness, and after that, we must listen to the evil git. This is not strength that overcomes darkness. It's light. Not even true, but here we are. I mean, Eregion was literally defeated by strength alone. But no, I've got a torch. And so, as we gaze out across Rivendell, like we line up like it's a superhero pose. Do you recognize this place? We are the Avengers. Let's all do the communist fist. Oh my god, I can't believe they made him do it. Yeah! Yeah! I tell you, like London Airport, that place. I've got a sword! Do you remember this place? The plotlines in this episode make absolutely no sense whatsoever. Adar kept flipping around, all because Simon Tolkien wanted him to remain in the show for longer. So they were like, how can we get rid of him? Let's just have him flip on everything that he said throughout the entire series. That'll be fine. We got fights where the power levels are all over the place. The dwarves send their army despite the fact that they only kept it back to prevent something that actually happened. And so when they needed their army the most, that's when they decided to send it away. They seemingly forgot that the Balrog even existed. Kind of feels like it was added in afterwards, because it doesn't make any sense to have the Balrog attack and then the dwarves forget about it. It seems like the king was meant to die. People were in mourning, and then, yeah, the Balrog, though, he wasn't... Where's he gone? Gandalf got his name in the worst way possible, and it just feels like, yes, there were lots of endings to stories. Bad ones. Why did you bring back Isildur? Just so we could get with evil and then actually split up with them again? And I know you think that people will care that Nori founded the Shire, but nobody does. All in all, this series went as expected, with the same reasons for enjoyment as expected. This isn't Tolkien in any way. It's incredibly abusive to it. It basically changes everything. But hey, I mean, they said it themselves.
It reminds me of my favorite Tolkien quote. Evil cannot create anything new.
So I guess they know the truth. And this video, much like their series, started and finished with the same thing, as it went full circle. Like a ring. But those are just my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know down in the comments below. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe. More videos like this in the future, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.